Hey there, Crazy Mountain Man here. I'm going to be showing you a bunch of crazy and non-crazy videos of things we do to get by or have fun here in New Hampshire. The first video I'm going to show you is how we take a 6-foot long by about 2 feet in diameter pine log and cut and split that into manageable pieces for a bonfire. Alright, the first thing you gotta do is take your chainsaw and split your log to something that's manageable. These logs that you see here are anywhere from about 6 feet to 10 feet in length, and I generally like to split logs that are somewhere between maybe about 3 to 4, maybe 5 feet long, depending on what we're going to be doing with it. Sometimes we'll edge a garden plot with it. Sure, it's pine, it rots quickly, but it still works well. But as you see, just go through it with the chainsaw. And other times we use the logs for burning. We got so much of trees that we've taken down or have fallen down. These guys came from trees that have been by our power lines probably since the power lines were put up 15 years ago. And well longer than that. The tallest was about 60-70 feet and about, I'd say about 32 to 34 inches in diameter in the bottom. So splitting's quite fun and challenging sometimes. There's a lot of work to it, depending on how large your logs are. For these logs, I probably need about 2 or 3 wedges, a sledgehammer, and I like to have my splitting maul around too. We start by taking one of our wedges and putting it about 1/4 of the way into the log and just tapping it a few times so that it holds nicely. Once you do that, you can start just smacking away at it. It'll take some time and effort. May get a little bit sore as you go, but as you get used to it, you'll get the feel for it and try not to miss. You lose a lot of your energy. And if you look closely, you'll see that the log, as I'm hitting it in, is starting to crack. That crack's going to be going through the entire log, the entire length, both down, as you can see, and then through the log. And once you've got it in pretty well, you'll want to go and put a wedge in the top. If you got a really thick log, you might need to put a second wedge in the end, but this one was pretty thin and actually split pretty nicely. You see a couple hits at the top and it just split apart. Some logs are easy, some aren't. Generally speaking, the shorter the log is, the easier it'll go. The less knots in the wood, the easier it goes. And for the little pieces that are still connected, I just use my splitting maul. And so now you got them in half, now we get to do them in quarters. Flip it over. I like having it flat on the ground, so I flipped it over that way. And the rules are the same as when you had the full log. You want to tap it in on the end a little bit, get it going, and then just start smacking it as hard as you can. Try to hit in the center. Don't miss. You waste a lot of your energy missing. You'll notice how the log is actually kind of moving as I hit it. Sometimes once they get small, they do that. You're losing a lot of your energy. Sometimes I like affixing another log or something at the other end so that when I hit it won't actually start moving. And again, 1, 2 to there, find your crack. Sometimes you have to move the bark around. I find that it does crack quite well under it. You just kind of trace it down until you find where the crack is, and you can use the wedge. You hit it a few times with the end of the wedge with holding it in your hand, and the bark will many times just fall off. So that piece is quartered. Time to do that one. Yeah, sometimes it's easier to use the sledgehammer to move it. Feel free to explore, try new things or whatever. We'll basically do the same thing on this one as the previous one. We just smack a few times until it's cracked. Make sure your chainsaw is not in your way. This one you'll see does actually kind of flop around a lot more when I hit it than the other one does. But it's about done. You get your last wedge. You know, sometimes you may even decide that you don't want to use a wedge, that if it started cracking up, the splitting maul, a couple hits there might just be enough. This one worked enough that I probably could have used the splitting maul for it.